Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're unpacking what is easily one of the most high-stakes, honestly nerve-wracking moments any defense aspirant has to conquer. The SSB interview self-introduction. You know the feeling. You walk in, literally all eyes are on you, the clock is ticking, and suddenly you totally forget your own name. Well, today we're going to break down exactly how to structure that opening, what the assessors actually want to see, and how to dodge those hidden traps that catch so many candidates totally off guard.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Picture yourself sitting across from the interviewing officer. So what does your introduction actually say about the real you? The officer on the other side of that table, they are definitely not looking for some perfectly programmed robot just rattling off a resume. No way. They're searching for a genuine human being, someone with real motivations and a solid character. They need to understand your true underlying personality before they evaluate absolutely anything else.
And that brings us to a pretty fundamental clash, right? The memorized speech versus your true personality. Now look, I get it. It's incredibly tempting to write out this rigid script, memorize every single syllable, and just recite it under pressure so you don't forget anything. But here's the reality check. That is exactly what you should not do. The armed forces want to see you and how you handle yourself naturally. A rehearsed robotic script, it completely masks the exact character traits the board is actually trying to evaluate.
All right, Section 1, winning the first impression.
So listen, this self-introduction, it isn't just some polite icebreaker or a casual formality before the real interview starts. No, this is your absolute most critical first impression. Your introduction literally has to be natural, it needs to be confident, and most importantly, it must be completely genuine and truthful. The officer is watching your demeanor to figure out who you really are. If you try to project false confidence or fake a persona, they're going to spot it instantly. Honesty here is absolutely paramount. It's the whole bedrock of what they want in a future officer.
Moving on to Section 2, the 6-part intro formula. Now, having a natural conversation doesn't mean you just go in there and wing it, right? You really need this 6-part formula to keep you on track so you don't start rambling. Step 1 is super simple, a polite, "Good morning, sir." Step 2 is basically your baseline, your name, your age, your hometown. Step 3 moves right into your education or your profession. Then, Step 4 brings in your family background, meaning your parents and siblings or, your spouse and children. Step 5 is all about your hobbies, and finally, Step 6 culminates with your ultimate aim.
What's really interesting here is the nuance in those later steps. For example, back in Step 3, if you're already a serving candidate, you absolutely must briefly mention your years of service and your current role. And take Step 5, for instance. Okay, huge warning label here. Pick genuine hobbies. Please do not invent a hobby just because you think it sounds impressive, because I promise you, they will absolutely interrogate you on it. And for Step 6, just be crystal clear about your aim. Tell the officer exactly why you want to become an officer and what truly motivates you to be sitting in that chair.
Which brings us to Section 3, mastering your delivery.
Okay, so we know exactly what to say, but a brilliant script is entirely useless without the right execution. Let's talk about physical delivery. You really have to maintain good eye contact, sit confidently, smile naturally, and speak clearly. A steady gaze and an upright, composed posture, that communicates discipline and self-assurance before you've even finished saying good morning. It brilliantly illustrates that you are completely comfortable in your own skin, even under pressure.
So, the crucial point here is just to keep it real. The warning is clear. Absolutely avoid difficult words or exaggerated achievements. Look, firing off complex vocabulary doesn't make you look smarter. Honestly, it usually just makes you look unnatural. Keep your language clear and accessible, and keep your accomplishments strictly factual. Simplicity is totally key here.
All right, on to Section 4, avoiding common interview traps. Now, pay close attention here because we are officially entering dangerous territory. Let's rapid fire through the biggest traps that candidates fall into, which can instantly sabotage that meticulously planned first impression. Number 1, speaking way too fast, which is almost always driven by nerves. Number 2, giving false information. That is an immediate, glaring red flag for integrity. Number 3, reciting a fully memorized robotic introduction. And number 4, talking for way too long and just losing the interviewer's attention. Literally any one of these can instantly derail your whole interview. To prevent that last mistake of rambling, you really need to keep this specific time frame in your head. 1 to 2, that's it. Your entire self-introduction must be kept strictly between 1 and 2 minutes. Hitting this time frame perfectly proves that you are concise, you're respectful of the officer's time, and you're fully capable of organizing your thoughts efficiently. Now, I want you to remember this rule. The interviewing officer may ask questions from any point. Seriously, this is perhaps the single most critical warning of the entire process. Every single thing you say in those 1 to 2 minutes, it must be completely true, rock solid, and heavily supported by your actual life experiences. The very second you state a hobby, an achievement, or a family detail, expect a follow-up question. Those unexpected questions are absolutely coming for sure, so you have to be anchored in the truth.
So, to bring this all together and summarize the core takeaway of this explainer, a winning self-introduction is simple, honest, and well-structured. Confidence, clarity, and genuine sincerity are always going to win out over fancy words or inflated claims. The truth, delivered clearly and calmly, is without a doubt your absolute strongest asset when you're facing that board.
So I'll leave you with this final empowering question. Are you ready to introduce the real you? Take this 6-part structure, practice your delivery so it flows completely naturally, keep the whole thing under 2 minutes, and step into that room with absolute authenticity. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Jai Hind.